Hi, my name is Matthew Swan and I'm from Palmer, Alaska. I grew up in a very religious home and always had God pressed on my life, and God just everything was always, it felt always about God in my life. But I had three older siblings ahead of me. They were all dropouts, and I ended up was well on my way following after in their footsteps. I got high for the first time when I was 9 years old. My parents, when I turned 11, were saying they felt like we were supposed to move to Alaska, and I'm like, you guys are crazy. You know, I don't want to move to Alaska. When I moved there, we ended up going into this very small church, and I was made to memorize scripture. And if I didn't memorize the scripture, I got spanked for that, and it was just always, there was just this religious atmosphere. So I never wanted anything to do with God. But during that time of discovery, they started to discover that I was really good with athletics. And while playing football, I would average three to five touchdowns a game. I was a star player. But whenever I got in trouble, it was always like, you're not going to football practice. Around the end of my freshman year, I ended up moving out, moved in with my spiritual family, and the brothers in there were just now getting out of drugs and everything. And after they had gotten all out of their thing, they had gotten radically saved. And one of the rules was living there was just, go to church, help out around the house, we'll support you in your sports. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. They actually support me. I ended up getting involved in our high school youth group, and I remember seeing this girl there, and she was like radically in love with Jesus, and I'm like, oh, like I'm in love with Jesus too. So I started going more because of her. My youth pastor tells us, hey, we're going to a conference called Jesus Culture. And I'm like, well, what the heck is that? And they're like, it's in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was 2007. Lou Engle was going to be there. And I'm like, okay, what the heck? Another city, I get to go, and the girl I like is going to be there. I remember walking in this small building and just seeing all these young people just excited for God. Benny Jonathan was up front, hanging out with the kids, and I'm like, wow, this is like what is going on? What is going on in this room? And there's just a whole different atmosphere. There's actually people excited for God, but I just couldn't understand what was going on. And I remember Kim Walker coming out, leading worship with Chris Kilala, and all these young people are up front just excited for God. And I'm like one of few people standing in back, and my youth pastor ends up coming up to me, and he's like, I bet you're wondering what's going on in this room. And I'm like, yeah. I'm trying to figure this all out. And he's like, well, if you go up there, and give it a shot, you'll figure it out. And I'm like, are you gonna come and join me? He goes, no, you'll figure it out. So I ended up going up towards the front, and because everybody else is lifting their hands, I figured, okay, I'll lift my hands. So I began to lift my hands, and Kim goes into this song, How He Loves Us, and in that moment, the presence of God just fell in that room, and I got radically touched by the love of God. And I'm sitting there on the floor crying as the Lord is talking to me how much He loves me, how much He's proud of me, how much He says I'm not stupid. And in that moment, He started to begin to share with me in my heart about revival. And I'm like, what the heck is a revival? And He goes, it's going to happen through your generation of young people, and you're going to see miraculous things. And I'm like, well, what does that all look like? And then the Lord didn't really say anything after that, but all through that, I've been seeing the fruits of the call of the Lord just doing amazing things through this next generation.